who's going to be a factor here, and it starts off being Brokey. Gets himself a quick one. Martin in the meanwhile lurking behind the ticket box, hoping that he can get something in when they start to retreat from the bomb plant, but Rain is the spanner in the works. There's so much info, yes, but Martin knows he needs to start moving in as well. Rain can deny anyone coming through from the murder hole, and Martin only has one direction to go. He finds it first, but Colzera's traded. Colzera's got two, and he's still fighting. He gets three. Zen left in a 1v4.
Yeah, and Zen was just not a part of the action there for the retake. They had the kit and the smoke on Crystal, but they don't win out on the trades. And Faze, that fast play towards A, they get into such great positions, not only to just deny rotations, but to hear where everybody is going on the side of GODSENT and Cold. I mean, he's just in the middle of nowhere, but taking fights. 3 kills for him. Faze taking the pistol in a very dominant fashion.
And it's great to see as well, because we had a few maps where Cold was, you know, freezing up a little bit. Not quite the hot hand that we sometimes see him have, but look at Spico. So aggressive, but he is punished. Rain knows that angle perfectly. He plays it himself, and Martin now with the deagle. Fast pace into him they go. Kirby's got the kill, but Farlig's got 2 of his own. Cold and Kirby, both keeping control. Well, Zen creeps around these smokes, but Crystal, what a shot! Cold is starting off beautifully so far.
Yeah, and Zen's on 7 HP, so just saving the armor. I mean, you expect to see these second round force buys, even rounds where you maybe make arguments for them to just save, go for guns in follow-up rounds. They can find themselves into pretty precarious spots with just pistols. They relied on it pretty heavily in the game against Big, the one that was such a heartbreaking loss. They're not quite able to get that consistency going. Yeah, Cold off to a very strong start. This is a battle of 2 solid international teams. You know, we've got a diversity in terms of where all the players are from. If you count the coaches as well, that's 12 people. There's 11 nationalities represented.
Well, I mean, listen, it would make Pitbull proud any day of the week. Thank you, Mr. International. You were the one who paved the way for us to get to this level. Pitbull, we salute you. I mean, that is how CS history worked, right? That's exactly how it went. It wasn't anything like Crystal being the pioneer of international teams back in Penta back in the day. And that's something to keep in mind as Cold is getting his thinking hat on. We do have a bit of a timeout coming through. The one very important thing to keep in mind and maintain constantly is going to be that GODSENT is essentially FaZe Clan Light. So either one of these teams have huge pop-off potential, but I have a bit of a feeling as we're going to see what's happening in the other game, NIP are actually being rocked a little bit. Sprout looking to maybe lean into 10 rounds on the nuke T side, and with a 2v2 going on, that could very well work in their favor. Now, the interesting thing to also keep in mind, though, is that Sprout have, of course, had a couple of their players performing incredibly well. You can see over towards the scoreboard, Dennis sitting on 11, but it's probably Snatchy and Diha who I want to see going into the CT sides, where obviously so much stronger. Meanwhile, though, back to FaZe and GODSENT. I'm sure there's a bit more to talk about as we see the 2v1 play out on our screen, Michael.
And I mean, there are other casters over on the B stream. You know, you can go and check them out as well. They're going to be focusing on that game as we just find the conclusion of that clutch. We're just getting things started here in our Group C matchup. FaZe off to a good start. Cold solid on these entry frags. You know, the spacing and the scaling to the sides has been effective. GODSENT have been able to throw too many hiccups or speed bumps as they progress into sites. And we'll be delayed in seeing that further. Of course, it's just pistols out for GODSENT. We have a Zeus in Crystal's hands, and he typically likes to throw over towards the B side of things, but no, he's gonna be in that tried and true position. Primarily a stack here from GODSENT. They are trying to work for area denial, but FaZe are making short work of any sort of mid control.
And we saw this in their game versus Big as well, and Big was able to exploit it. FaZe loved to take control over mid and then work the connector to go for a combined 2-pronged hit on the A bomb side. Cold, though, he's always that second prong, but Nico comes in first. Nice little kill for the Mac 10, just farming up some cash. Always good to have a bit of extra bank in the pocket later on. But GODSENT, they don't care about bank, they care about bang for the buck, and they're not getting any out of it so far. Not much investment, but you still want to see at least a kill or two coming in. Those $300, they can matter. And well, Crystal, he's going to come through. That's the god of lightning right there. You'll have to see it.
Well, Crystal won't get anything else. Berkey does track him down. Farling's trying to be a little bit tricksy, so he finds Coldzera clearing out A ramp. That's an A key that he can follow into the next round, and they shouldn't be able to track him down. Of course, they're going to look for the hunt. There's still some time for Faze to investigate that. But stability in that T-side economy will be a big benefit for them moving forward. Of course, talked about how GODSENT can be very effective on low buys. And they're not off to that slow start. Of course, winning the pistol will be that additional buffer. Oh no, Farley. Okay, he does get tracked down in the end. Kjerby just at the tail end of the round. No AK brought forward for GODSENT. Of course, they can still invest in rifles. Farley, AWP, like you would anticipate. And he, I think, will be a big focal point for us. I think both the Danes, for either side of the coin, being the most recent additions to the squad, will be huge emphasis points because confidence, implementation into the systems have been major points of criticism. And Farley's not going to start off the round well, burning down to 46.
A lot of this will be down to Sneeko now as they start to move in. He smoked himself off, gives a better chance. Flashbang overhead as well, but Faze is already skilled on his side, and he's gone down. Kjerby to do the honors, while Farlig is next to follow. Rain from behind can decapitate, and now GODSENT have to save. Faze clan just making short work and making Modern a head's height shorter. That is beautiful stuff coming out from Faze. The way they're able to scale up and take control of the side is brilliant, especially when you consider that GODSENT this time over seemed to be wary of that mid presence, and this is something we didn't really see coming up from Faze to a large extent versus Big. We didn't see these fast-paced plays out onto the A-bomb site through A main. Largely, again, it was mostly a connector showdown more often than not.
Yeah, this is setting a really unhealthy precedent here for GODSENT, that they cannot rely on their A-side hold, so even if Faze start putting more emphasis on middle control, didn't expect them to meet the other side of it. Kjerby, even Molotoving out Crystal, they get nothing. Kjerby going down to the flames of Nico. Or, sorry, the other way around. Nico does hurt the scoreline of Kjerby ever slightly, but a round win is a round win. They will be happy with that. Strong stuff. Very minimal casualties in these rounds as well, so they are starting to accrue cash on that T side that... Oh, we talk about the pistols. GODSENT on them. Some armor surrounding it. Not as much utility as you maybe like to see in mid to late round situations if they get themselves into some sort of an advantageous spot.
Then struck out the nade. Doesn't do too much damage, but... There you start to wonder... What exactly is going to be the game plan for GODSENT later on? We know that on Mirage, more often than not, their game plan is sometimes very much modern go kill. Speaking of modern go kill, Rain was perhaps given the same command. However, he sees a deagle, shies away from it, and lets Crystal take point. But Modern, go kill Modern! Go kill Modern! Yes! He's got it out, and they've got 3. Suddenly, everything's going wrong for Faze Clan, but Coldzera's still alive, and that's something very, very right. Needs to get out the ace flush if they want to win this, but that's not possible. Zen, with the stolen off, will steal the round as well, and it all comes out from Modern go kill.
I don't know how they get so much consistency on these pistols. They just find themselves in such great spots. And I mean, that seems just to be a gap in the game plan. That's actually something that we've criticized Faze in the past for their defaults. Kjerby just setting up for nades. You know, he does have somebody with him, but there's nobody clearing out the underpass. That's something that we thought they'd ironed out. We didn't see it too much in the group stage. So we're seeing a different look for Faze. They're going for faster plays overall. They're going back to some of their older styles of default. And they're punished for it in that round.
And this is also where you start to wonder how much did that loss to Big rattle them? Because there were a lot of situations where you were thinking, yeah, Faze should start to win this. Faze did make a very solid comeback back into it, but then tabseN was just dominating Nico in aim duel after aim duel, but domination will now come through from Farley as Coldzera finally seems to be losing some of those duels as well. He will fall, and in the meanwhile, Faze still don't have the bomb, so Zen finding damage here would be big, but instead he's been damaged. Kjerby takes him down, and they will go back, retrieve the bomb, and an A-side hit might be what's on the cards, but it all comes down to what Kjerby can find and get done over towards apartments. Rain, the same is true for him and Connector.
Silence on the map. Just the one flash thrown to the B apartments. That's thrown a bit more of a head spinner in for GODSENT. They rotated Farlig in to support Crystal. Meanwhile, Faze regrouping towards Palace. It's going to be a pincer towards A. That's what they're lining up for. Modern is still close A ramp, so it's another angle that Faze will have to be worried about approaching the site. They should recognize that.
20 seconds and still no rotations coming in. Stiko seems to be very, very wary of Connector, but Rain's not going to be the immediate hit. He's going to be the second prong of assault. Rain might even get the timing, but Stiko turns around in time. 10 seconds, and now it's all about Modern. The Molotov is there to keep him blocked out. The bomb will be planted because of it. But Modern is still around the corner, and in broke his head, going for more as he peeks out, but he's just providing a distraction for the rest of the CTs to come in from behind. Kirby and Nico trying to fight back, but already Kirby is down and Nico's left alone. He's the man you want to have, but does he have what it takes? Nico starts off well, gets the first, but he's revealed his position, and now they're in hot pursuit. But the heat is on, and Nico is the man to bring the fire. Looking for the kill, but can't get it. They're pre-firing, and the Deagle will come out on top. Faze Clan, they may be delayed a bit too much. Maybe you can call it timing for Stiko to turn around then as well. But at the end of the day, when there's 20 seconds left on the clock, there's just so many things that can go wrong.
Yeah, and that's the critical kill. There's nobody that can trade Rain out, so that duel towards Connector makes things so much easier for players like Madden to stay alive for so much longer. There's Stiko's angle they need to be concerned of. They Molotov'd out Madden's position, so I'm surprised they weren't more aware that that was a possibility. Brokey came out with a pistol.
Shout out to AZS. I think he's the one who's doing these. Obviously, it's AZS doing these, man. Like, I might be wrong about that, but I'm sure we'll have someone tell us in our ear if I am. That being said, though, timeout coming in from Faze Clan. GODSENT, on the other hand, have not gone for the double op setup. I really appreciate that. Honestly, sorry, slip of tongue. They have gone for the double op setup, and the reason why I really like this is because GODSENT's double ops are very specific in the sense that they pull them out when the secondary player just feels like it. This is something we've talked to the GODSENT players about. This is very, very often more of a feel-based call rather than an overall structural decision. And that means in the hands of someone like Modern or Zen, you can have an amazing highlight round because you know they're feeling confident. And that's what we're really hoping for at this stage. Zen's playing from short with that secondary op, but Crystal's actually going to be the one to take first contact. Kirby going in, he's been tagged up and slowed down. The MAC-10, however, still in hot pursuit. Going forward, he's got full control, but Rain's the one to find the first.
Yeah, they give them the site. They don't play within it, and so it's an easy scaling here for FaZe. The fact that they find a kill as well. Oh, Crystal, if you'd fired off a shot, you may have found some healthy results. And oh dear, utility, the flash. Okay, that's, yeah, they're already sort of backing off, but if Crystal had found one, they may have doubled back, thought about it once more. Kirby, long distance to MAC-10. Shake your way to a frag, my friend. It's really difficult. 13 HP. That distance of the Mac, it would have been a couple more bullets, but Crystal, although he's received quite a lot of damage, quite a few bullets in the back of his torso, he should be able to get away with this one. It's still a one round for FaZe.
I somewhat regret bending the narrative of Zen's confidence now, considering he's just playing from the back of Market, playing from the door over there. He really needed to find that kill, but I don't know if we can get a replay of Rain or not, but that was a fantastic shot to be coming through. He just jumped out onto the van, got a shot straight down into the skull of Zen, and with that, the round was lost. Zen, his entire purpose in that position is to stop them from crossing over the bench. That's the only way they actually have some sort of an ability to retake in that space. But FaZe, still up 5, but GODSENT obviously with 4 players kept alive and 2 ops, they're perfectly fine economically.
Then a little one-way towards middle, so Rain's been taken out of the round early. Stiko, the position in Palace, coldzera loses the duel, so they keep that man advantage ever slight, even with the dismissal of Zen. FaZe only have middle to work off of. They need to be worried about the potential for a flank as well. Stiko could have over-pushed from that position. There's still so much time on the clock, so many options available primarily for the CT side to work off of. Nico, ooh, duel presented, but he doesn't clear out Madden, so it's just Kirby with an op in hand. You know, maybe a rifle, I would have given it to him. The potential to pull this one off. The AWP, not exactly his most proficient weapon. Oh, he's given the head, and Stiko lingers a little too long.
Listen, Kirby's always had decent first bullet accuracy, and with an AWP, last I checked, you only need 1 bullet. So maths checks out. Just saying, Michael. They say never do maths on broadcast. They lied. I can do it. I'm great. Fantastic that way.
Yeah, your highlight has been there was one damage nade, I think, on a map we casted on Nuke, and you said 280 damage. It came out to about 287. So
there you go. But right now the question is, how much damage can Kirby do? 287 isn't quite the number he needs, but Kirby is brought down before he can look for the 279. Third round on the board for GODSENT. Nicely done off the back of initial pick coming out from Zen. But what's really interesting over here is that you can see FaZe has actually reverted back to how they were playing ESL Pro League in their defaults. Because that was when Nico was very heavily relying on getting himself in towards short ladder. Ever since then, they actually changed their default significantly to have a slower mid take, but then go in and focus on connector instead. So I really have a feeling that the big game really messed with their confidence. But look at this again.
Oh,
he's already there. Are they expecting this? Nico will be able to find the first, but Fardig is right around the corner. So the trade should be possible, and he's pulled out the Deagle, peeks into him, but Nico says no before being denied. Stico to take him down. 2 players still on this B-bomb side. Now it's just one, but Zun is almost enough. Stico left alone, and he will have to save. There's still enough money on the CT side to buy, but what a round from Nico.
And that's kind of best case scenario. Martin is sitting in the smoke. He's lining up nades towards top mid, and so he misses the timing. Doesn't expect that will be the play that Nico goes for. Of course, we understand that that's something that they would have implemented before, but maybe reverting back to that older style, GODSENT just don't anticipate it. Typically Rain's with Nico. If they're working the map a little slower, you know, you'll typically see Rain take the closer ranged angle, go towards bottom connector, flash it, be a bit more methodical in their approach. But the fast B pincer, and it's all catalyzed by Nico. Exactly what
fantastic
the
stuff. Yep. And the other thing to also keep in mind as we look at the other game again, where Sprout is right about to kick some ninjas out of a server, it seems like. Pretty poor buy, actually, from the ninjas as well. If you look over with the utility, they've got almost none off it, though. 120 in, I'm sure they've used some of it as well. And if you want to check that out, you can go over to twitch.tv/DreamhackCS2. But that would be a bad decision, because you want to see what happens between FaZe and GODSENT, don't you? And right now, FaZe is again setting up for a faster paced play with Nico left and Lurk on mid. This is exactly what they were running on ESL Pro League. Farlig, though, he might be aware, but the flashbang will force him back, and now he can't scope out without giving his position away. Stico gets the first kill with the Molotov. Martin helps out with a flashbang to make sure that they can't actually see that they're being burnt, but Coldzera is unseen, is unheard, and is just a specter of death.
There was a part of me really wondering how Farlig was staying alive for so long. He was in an awkward position atop the ladder. There's a Molotov at his feet. He's running all around the site. Didn't think he'd get shot through a smoke by Cold, but that's certainly one way to punish.
It was a very well-timed flashbang from London, though, to anti-flash FaZe clan.
You can see they're reading into how GODSENT like to play out the late rounds as well. Like, we've seen Stico push A ramp,